You found out you're pregnant. Naturally, you're hitting the web for due date calculations, information on what to expect, and ultimately find yourself in a pregnancy forum. But what the heck are these women talking about? BFP, AF, OPK, EBF, SAHM, say what? This is a foreign language, but have no fear. Today we are cracking the code of pregnancy forum acronyms and terminology on Preggy Pals.
Is that a plus sign?
Pink or blue? Hospital or home birth?
What type of food should I be eating?
I think I just peed myself. I'm pregnant, and I have to exercise.
What pregnancy glow?
Wait, was that a contraction?
Gotta make these pants fit. I've got kinkles.
What do you mean there's more than one?
You've got the symptoms, and now you've got the support you need for a happy 9 months. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
So welcome to Preggy Pals, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Preggy Pals is your online, on-the-go support group for expecting parents and those hoping to become pregnant. I'm your host, Stephanie Glover. We've covered topics for every phase of pregnancy. Visit the episode guide on our website to scroll through those topics. You can listen directly on your computer through iTunes or download our free apps available in Android, iTunes, and Windows Marketplace. And be sure to check out our new network app where you can listen to all your favorite new mommy media shows on the go. Here's Sunny with more information about how you can get involved in Preggy Pals.
All right. So we love to hear from our listeners. We love for you guys to participate in our show. And we have some different segments that you can be part of. So the first one that I want to mention is when you have questions, regarding your pregnancy, obviously if it's something like you need immediate answer to, contact your OB or your midwife. But if they're just more general questions, we would love to know what those questions are. And we have a team of experts that can answer those questions. And what we do is we take your question, we take their answer, and we put that on a future episode. So any questions, you can send them to us, and we'll try to get those answered. Let's see, what else can I say? Oh, you know what? One of the things that it's kind of new to our website, but we're talking about, what you do, when you get on these different forums and you start talking and stuff like that. We have a due date calculator. So if you guys aren't pregnant yet, or maybe you're, trying to get pregnant or whatever, we do have that on our website. So there's a due date calculator, and we also have a calendar that kind of can show you when you're probably ovulating. So both of those are on the New Mommy Media website. So it might be some good links to just bookmark if you're kind of in the trenches now and may need that information in the future. So we're kind of providing a one-stop shop for all of that. So, for the questions that I was saying, if you want to ask our expert any questions, you can do that through our website, newmommymedia.com. Go to the contact link, and you can submit that way. Also, you can do it right through your computer, which is pretty cool. And there's like a gray little banner on the side, and it says send voicemail or submit voicemail, something like that. Click that, and you can use the microphone on your computer to send a message straight through the internet, which is kind of cool. So those are a couple different ways that you can participate in our show.
Thank you, Sunny.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get to know our panelists just a little bit better. We will all introduce ourselves. I'll go first. I am Stephanie Glover. I am the host of Preggy Pals. I'm also a trained childbirth educator. I'm 33. I'm not pregnant. I have 2 kiddos, Gretchen and Lydia. Gretchen is 4. She was my C-section baby, and Lydia is 2, and she was my VBAC baby. Sunny?
All right. So I have 4 kiddos too. Not planning to have any more unless an oops baby kind of comes along the way. But yeah, so my oldest is 5 and he's a boy. I have a 3-year-old boy, and then I have twin girls who are just over 2.
Awesome.
Yep.
And we've got some ladies on the phone joining us today. So Dana, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dana. I am an employee of University of Colorado Hospital. I have 2 boys at home, 6 and 2.5.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And how about you, Alicia?
Hi, I'm Alicia. I am from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm a sales representative here for an IT company. I am 24, pregnant with my very first baby, a baby girl, due in June.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Okay, so before we kick off today's show, sometimes we like to talk about pregnancy headlines, things that are just kind of making the rounds on the internet. And I just look for headlines that kind of catch my attention. And this one did. Should women avoid potatoes before pregnancy? And this strikes a chord with me because potatoes are kind of my best friend. And there's a lot of different ways to use potatoes, and I think I've tried everything. And especially when it gets into the fried stuff, yeah, that's really what I want when I am pregnant. So anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about this study. It says some researchers suggest that laying off the potatoes would be a good idea, since a new study finds that women who eat more potatoes before conceiving, so we're talking about not just being pregnant, before conceiving, may face a higher risk of developing gestational diabetes when pregnant. So gestational diabetes is a form of diabetes that develops during pregnancy, and it can affect the health of both the expecting mom and her baby. And they're basically saying that there was this study, 15,000 women took part in this study from 1991 to 2001. Well, that was a long time ago. It's interesting. So anyways, they tracked consumption of potatoes and other foods every 4 years. And they also tracked these pregnancies. So over a 10-year period, out of, 21,693 pregnancies, there were 854 cases of gestational diabetes. And that's kind of where they're getting all these crazy numbers for. They said, we found that a diet with a higher level of potato consumption before pregnancy was related to a greater risk of developing diabetes during pregnancy. Blah, 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 blah. So anyways, wanted to see. I'm so impartial on this topic. Wanted to see
She's
what you
the
guys...
potato defender.
I like Mrs. Potato Head over here. God. Idaho. What do you guys think of this? Stephanie, let's start with you.
So did they track, though, what they were eating in pregnancy as well, did it say?
Yes, it says scientists track consumption of potatoes and other foods.
Okay. I guess where I could see it is that if you already have a diet that's like high in that type of like carb sugar, then maybe you're more likely, if you continue that diet, to get GD. But again, it's just one of those, it's just another thing to not eat at some point in your life.
It is. It is.
I guess the alternatives, I don't know if they touched on this, would be like a sweet potato or a yam.
I don't think they it just says, by substituting the following foods for 2 servings of potatoes per week, they estimated reductions in just gestational diabetes by blah, 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 blah. So, I guess they did kind of go through and list some alternatives. Listen, I had gestational diabetes with my second pregnancy. Didn't have it with any other pregnancy, which is kind of strange because they usually say once you get it, you're probably going to get it with your other pregnancies. And it was hard enough to follow like everything that they were. I mean, even the peanut butter that you eat, like everything has to change. Your whole diet changes. And honestly, thank goodness I wasn't diagnosed until, I literally was like, 34 weeks pregnant when they finally diagnosed me with gestational diabetes.
So you didn't have very long to follow the diet.
I didn't. No, about halfway through, they said, maybe you want to start to modify your diet, but I kept doing those 3, tests, 3-hour tests and all this stuff. I had to take it multiple times anyway. So it's hard enough to do. And so, but what gets me about this is they say avoid it even before pregnancy. And a lot of times we don't know. Like, I don't know about you guys. Surprise. You pee on a stick and you're pregnant. So for people that maybe are really big planners, but I don't know. I don't think this really would have worked for me. Ladies, you guys have any thoughts on the phone?
I think all things are great in moderation, period.
Yeah.
I think if we add potatoes into our diet, as long as we're keeping it at a moderate level, I don't think we're going to have any concerns about testing positive for TB. I think it's kind of ridiculous that they would try to identify that as the trigger for TB.
Yeah, it seems there would be so many other factors you have to consider, not just potato consumption.
Just don't only eat potatoes and you're probably fine.
Yeah, all the candy bars are fine. Right. Just don't eat the potatoes. Seriously. All right, Alicia?
Yeah, I completely agree. And also with what Stephanie said is, because I was a psychology major, so any of these studies always makes me think, okay, what actual factors are being used here? What things could have been complexing? What was actually being measured? So it makes me think, maybe the results came from it's potatoes and maybe some other things combined that are just kind of naturally in that diet for that person, then maybe. But I don't feel like I'm endangering anything right now by just being able to have potatoes. And I would be in trouble, too, because this baby girl has been craving steak and potatoes for the past month.
Yep. Well, okay. So we're going to put the link on our Facebook page. You guys can check out the article if you want to see, and also some of the substitutes that they recommend. It might be worth just checking out. I mean, if you like some of the substitutes, hey, maybe try doing it and see what happens. All right. Thanks, ladies.
Today we're mixing it up a bit format-wise. Typically we have an expert join us here in the studio or sometimes over the phone, but we're just going to wing it today because we're talking about acronyms in the pregnancy forums. So we're going to crack that code and we're just going to have a conversation about it and probably laugh and trip on our words a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we could get, even if we wanted to get an expert for this.
Yeah,
You're the expert on acronyms.
No, I don't
think
it could even be someone from Webster's, right?
No.
So we're just going to go through and have some fun. So, we've touched on a few acronyms there in the intro. And I don't know about you ladies, but when I stumbled upon my first pregnancy forum, I just had no idea what anybody was talking about. And I was constantly looking up terms and Googling these acronyms and these other kind of phrases that pop up now and then. So I wanted to just sort of start the conversation by asking you ladies if you remember any that stood out to you or super confused you that you ultimately had to look up. Sunny, did anything ring a bell with you or stand out to you?
I have to be honest, and maybe it's because we do these shows. I feel like this is like my little group. I rarely post in different online pregnancy forums and stuff. I do remember going to them in the beginning and being just totally freaked out. I seriously did need a dictionary.
Yeah.
And I never really think I got past that point. It was something that deterred me. And I was like, do I really want to invest all the time to figure out this stuff? Or do I just want to rely on other methods to get my information and stuff? And so I went with option B.
Okay.
So I was one of those onlookers. But even now, when I'm doing research for the shows and stuff, sometimes the information I'm looking for are in forums. Mm-hmm. And I'll still have to go back and I'm just like, this is Greek. This is great. I'm really glad we're doing this episode because maybe it will help me.
It's a refresher course.
Yes. So yeah.
Now, Dana and I know each other from an online moms group. I think it started in forum format, but then we moved over to Facebook. There was a little bit more accountability with real names and faces.
Exactly.
But Dana, were there any acronyms that stood out to you when you started your whole pregnancy journey that you were like, what the heck? I have to look this up.
Yeah, so EWCM as white cervical mucus.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, what on earth?
I think it's because people just don't want to spell out the words. Maybe they don't even know how to spell them all. They're like, just letters, please.
Okay, so actually that was that's an acronym I threw in for a little bit later, but I think that it's kind of important probably to just touch on briefly why that would even be talked about. And that's usually when you're talking about conception, the consistency of your cervical mucus. When it's egg whitey, it's around ovulation. Okay. Why that would even come up. But yeah, I brought it up with my husband. I was reading through the script with him a little bit and he's like, why? I was like, yeah, maybe I should say why that would even be talked about.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one. Alicia, how about you?
Well, I'm part of the What to Expect app. I get emails, and I'm part of the June 2016 group. Uh-huh. And so every day I get to see the new posts. I'm mostly just an onlooker, not really a participator. But I remember I was so confused whenever I saw it was DH, DS, and DD, which is dear husband, dear son, dear daughter. And it took me the longest time to figure out what in the world they were talking about. And then finally, I just started Googling, and then it was all revealed to me. But I also remember with other ones, I would try to figure out what they could possibly mean, but it usually had nothing to do with what it would actually make sense to be. It was just kind of a fun game for me.
See, I thought it was dedicated husband. It's dear husband?
It's dear husband, technically, yeah.
Why dear?
I don't know, because I don't call my husband that.
Dear
I love
husband.
him, but in conversation, I'm not like, my dear husband.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought for fun, I'm going to read through a few sentences. I'll start it sort of simple, and then it'll get more complex. But whoever's first to think that they can translate this, just say your name and then give it a go, because I think it would be fun. So number 1, my DH and I hope to get a BFP when I POAS.
Dana.
Okay, Dana, go for it.
My dear husband and I hope to get a big fat positive when I pee on a stick.
Bingo.
Wait. So it's BFP.
Oh, yeah. I think I said BFP, but I wrote it BPF.
Oh, I'm looking at the script. Yeah. I'm like, so that wasn't fair because I'm looking at a script going, what is a BPF? But I knew I could figure out POAS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
some props.
So a BFP would be a big fat positive on a pregnancy test. A BFN, big fat negative. Okay. Number 2, my RE recommends IUI or IVF.
See, I feel like this one's a little easier because those acronyms at the end are common what am I trying to
Terminology.
say? Terminology. Yeah,
Yes.
it's common terminology
Yes.
just in our space, but I still don't know what RE stands for.
Dana or Alicia?
I wish I could see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to.
Totally.
No,
trying to
trust me,
figure
it
out
doesn't
my-
help.
It doesn't help. Sunny can see it. So RE is reproductive endocrinologist.
Ah, okay.
I think I said that right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that anyway.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
That, and I have to say, I actually pulled that because I think in the group that Dana and I are in, someone kept posting about REs and I didn't know. And I'm kind of in the birth world, so I had to
Yeah.
Google it. So,
Yeah.
and then IUI is intrauterine insemination, and then IVF is in vitro fertilization. There we go. So, okay, number 3. I plan to be an SAHM, which will support my efforts to EBF.
I got it, Sunny. Sunny. Okay, I'm very excited about this. I plan to be a stay-at-home mom, which will support my efforts to exclusively breastfeed.
Good job.
What's my prize?
We did that too. Yay.
Street cred. Street cred.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, last one though. Here we go. This might be TMI, but while we TTC, I tracked my BBT and EWCM before SO and I DTD.
What? That is a bunch of alphabet soup right there.
And I'm sorry because my callers really should be able to see this. So I'm going to say it one more time. This might be TMI, but while we TTC, I tracked my BBT and EWCM before SO and I DTD.
Did you make this up or did you actually see it somewhere?
No, I made this up. Anybody?
It's hard. It's hard. If
It's
you
hard
guys-
because it's long because you can't
and
see
you
it.
can't
I
see
should have
it.
wrote that down while you were saying
Right.
it.
Well, let's just break.
Okay.
Let's break it down step
so
by step.
TMI.
Too much information.
Exactly. Okay.
TTC.
Trying to conceive.
Try to conceive.
Yeah.
Yes.
BBT.
Basal body temperature.
Good job.
Wow.
And then we already talked about EWCM, which is the egg white cervical mucus.
Oh my god.
SO.
Glorious.
So.
Significant other.
Significant other. And DTD.
Do the deed.
Yep.
Do the
Do
deed.
the deed, aka sexual
So this
intercourse.
is this is technical now.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting really technical.
Yes, so this
Wow.
was quite the story. So this might be too much information, but while we were trying to conceive, I tracked my basal body temperature and egg white cervical mucus before my significant other and I did the deed.
Oh my
but
goodness.
this is what the forums look like.
It
It's
is.
just
It is.
crazy
Because
So-
we don't want to type anything out.
But then it's like, unless you're seasoned, you don't know what the heck is going on.
Right. Okay.
So, so as you can see in some of these examples in pregnancy forums, we cover topics from, conception through parenting styles. It always comes up, even if you're pregnant, especially before you're even a parent the first time, you might have some ideas about how you're going to parent. And then of course
Right.
those change. So,
Right.
But, so we go over all sorts of topics and they can be confusing. So I thought that we would go over just some of the common acronyms that sort of precede or get right to the point of pregnancy because they still come up and they just might be confusing. What I'll do too, because I don't want to just list them like a glossary, so we can still go through and chat and, you guys can try to guess if that's helpful. If you're listening in, play along.
Right. And we should put this on a list, like a handout, and
Yes.
put a link to it
Yeah,
on our site.
definitely.
And that way we'll post in all of the pregnancy forums. Listen,
Yes.
if you're having trouble figuring this out,
Yes,
here's a
here's
handout. Here's
guide.
our glossary. Yes.
All right. So AF. Anyone know what that is?
See, I can't look at it because you wrote
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
answers
that's
down.
true. Yeah.
Okay, I
So
won't
Sunny's
look.
out. Or-
I'm out for that one.
Yeah.
I looked at it.
Now this is tricky too because not only are there acronyms, but then there's acronyms for nicknames of things, which makes it
Oh.
twice as hard. So AF is ant flow,
So it's not even a
and it's
technical
not even
term.
your period.
Right.
It's ant flow AF. So that one can be tricky too. Hey, when's the last time you had an AF? Well, I don't know. What is that? Is that a food? I don't know.
Does it taste good?
Yeah. DPO. Anybody?
DPO.
Mm-hmm.
Days past ovulation.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's going to come up a lot too, especially maybe you haven't even gotten that positive pregnancy test yet, but you join the forums if you're like me and you want to read everything. Was that
Yeah.
implantation bleeding? Was it not? When did you
Yeah.
have sex? So that's a question. Well, how many DPO are you?
Yeah.
That's what they're asking. HPT can use in conjunction with POAS. So that's your home pregnancy test.
Not to be confused with
Not to be
POS.
confused. Yeah. Yes. Which I'm sure sometimes people reference other people in their lives as POSs in this group as well.
That's a common term in my house, too, so I don't have to say that in front of my kids.
Right. So LP, this one's a little bit more technical. Does anyone know what
Luteal phase?
luteal phase? So
I did not
nice.
cheat.
So she
But I don't even know what that means.
Oh,
really,
okay.
luteal
So
phase.
your luteal phase is the phase that's the point in your menstrual cycle between ovulation and your period. So it's the point where your uterus is getting a thicker lining in preparation for an egg implanting. And then it'll either implant or it will shed.
Okay.
So the luteal phase, that's going to come up too because some women have shorter phases than others. And when they're trying to figure out if they've actually conceived, then they'll be talking about their LP. MC or M/C.
Miscarriage.
Miscarriage.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen M/C a lot. Okay.
Yeah. You'll also see US or U/S. Ultrasound. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's one of those where sometimes you'll see it as a slash and sometimes not. I think this might have been one in the intro, the OPK.
I have never been able to remember that one.
Ovulation Predictor Kit.
Oh.
So if you're peeing on those ovulation sticks for 7 days, that's what would be called an OPK. LMP. When was your
Last menstrual.
Yep.
Oh, last menstrual period.
And then PG. Not a rating of a movie, but PG. Pregnant. Simple.
Really?
Pregnant. I can type out pregnant.
I can type out
personally.
anything that's one word that's like less than like 8 characters. Come on. Pregnant. Yeah, I guess I have seen that.
And then I'm going to throw one in. I didn't write this down, but rainbow baby. So that's not an acronym.
That's sweet. I just learned about rainbow babies. I didn't know there was a term for it.
Yeah.
I'll let other people guess.
Yeah. Do you guys know what a rainbow baby is?
No, what is that?
So if you've had one or more miscarriages and then you finally are pregnant with your rainbow baby, the baby that's sort of
Viable.
made it viable, to the point of viability, then that's your rainbow baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then also,
that is-
if you guys have heard of like,
I got the chills.
I know I did too.
I did.
Like sticky. Like I hope like this baby's a sticky baby or
So it sticks to
sticky
the uterine
dust.
wall?
Yeah. But they will say
Yeah.
sending you a lot of sticky dust if you ever see that. I'm not joking. Sticky baby dust. That's a thing too.
Sticky baby dust.
Yeah.
Can we box that up for baby showers?
Right.
Get some glitter.
So we've covered some of the things that people talk about in forums that sort of lead up to pregnancy. So when we come back, we'll go over more pregnancy forum acronyms and play another game with our panelists. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Today we're cracking the code on the foreign language that is made up of the pregnancy forum acronyms. So we're going to cover just a few more terms now that we're pregnant in our group, and we've determined that we are PG. So some other acronyms that may seem a little bit familiar, and go ahead and play along as well. The first one, and this is one too that'll show up with a slash or without, and that's CS. I know 3 of us have had a CS, at least one.
Cesarean section?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. EDD.
Estimated due date.
Yeah.
Awesome. So GBS plus or GBS minus.
Group B strep, positive or negative.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit earlier, so this is kind of cheating, but GD.
Gestational diabetes.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yay for not having it. No more potatoes.
No more potatoes.
FTM. We have
Second
one.
time mom.
First time mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like we have
Nice.
one on our show.
That's right.
LO.
Little one?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're fast.
Well, that's because I think that's like dear husband.
It
I'm like,
is.
I don't say,
It is. Yeah.
Whatever.
My little one.
My LO.
Okay, so this one's a little bit more specific to forums. Is PP.
Ooh, I got that one.
Yeah.
Previous poster.
Good job.
Previous poster?
Yeah, so if they're referring to who posted previously.
Oh my
yeah.
God. I'm thinking like movie poster or something. I'm like, what movie is she going to? I don't get it. Oh gosh.
So PPD.
Postpartum depression.
Yes. VBAC.
That's an easy one.
Vaginal birth after cesarean.
Yes. Actually, and then just for fun, I didn't have these listed, but I'll do these. CBAC.
Cesarean, birth after cesarean.
Mm-hmm. And then
HBAC.
RSC. Oh, yeah, an HBAC. HBAC is home birth after
Home birth
cesarean.
after cesarean.
And then an RCS.
RCS.
Repeat C-section.
Repeat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so just to clarify, and I think this is actually probably helpful for people who see these in forums, that you're thinking, what the heck is the difference between an RCS and a CBAC? But a CBAC is an attempt for a VBAC. Ending in cesarean.
Okay.
Whereas an RCS is a planned C-section.
Oh, okay.
After you've already had one. So if you ever seen why are they calling them two different things? They're two different things.
Right.
Throw one more out there just for fun. TOLAC. Does anyone know what a TOLAC is? Or a TOL? There's a TOLAC and a TOL. Trial of labor or trial of labor after cesarean. So sometimes you'll see that too.
Okay.
WOHM.
Is that work at home mom?
Work outside of the home mom. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then, you could do a WAHM, which would be...
I've seen that. Yeah.
Like wham.
Well, wham. Because when you're working at home, you get whammed a lot by your kiddos.
It hurts your brain a little bit.
It does hurt your brain.
So, and then we were talking about how parenting stuff always seems to find its way into pregnancy forums, even if the baby hasn't arrived yet. So I'll ask a question, and then you guys can help me dissect what the heck I'm asking you. So, hey, new mom, do you plan to BLW, CD, CIO, and NIP? Can anyone determine?
I know NIP. Let's see.
So BLW, CD, CIO, NIP.
I know the first and the last.
Okay.
Let's see.
So, Sunny, what would you say the first one is?
Baby-led weaning.
Baby-led weaning. Okay.
Okay.
So when you're thinking about parenting, and things you might be asked if you're going to do, or you're thinking about doing CD. So think of a baby. CD. Any guesses on the phone?
Your daughter?
Cloth diaper.
Cloth diaper.
Oh, cloth CD.
CD.
Yeah, I know
sorry,
it's tough. It's tough, yeah. CD. Cloth diaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then CIO.
Cry it out.
Cry it out.
And NIP.
Nurse in public.
Yep.
That one I know.
Yeah. So
Just
all
it's
sorts
really
of
easy.
them.
Nip.
Yeah.
Just like your
Like
nipple.
your nips are out.
out.
Can you guys think of any others that have stood out to you that I've maybe missed? There were a lot. I'm not going to lie. I did have to go back because you can only retrieve so much from your brain. So I had to do a little research. And some of them were just so ridiculous that I'm like, I can't. Like, they were either really repetitive.
Yeah.
Like, they had some, I think it was, instead of DH, it was like DUH for like dumb husband or something.
Oh,
I've never even seen that used, honestly. Maybe I've seen POS used, but not DUH.
You know what we should do? You know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to put these up on our website. We'll have like a link for it. And then like if you guys are listening and you come across other ones, we'll use this as a glossary to point people to.
Yeah.
But if other ones you find, like we'll just like email us and then we'll add them to the list. We need to, because we need a resource.
We do need
like
a resource,
this,
yes.
You know?
And it was so funny too, because my husband does online gaming. And so I think they have I'm sure their own terminology or whatever. And it was funny because there was some drama that, there's always drama in the pregnancy forums. And and I said something like, oh, there's a troll in here. And my husband just lost it because I've never talked like that ever. And he's like, what? He's like, you know what a troll is? Because I guess they're in online gaming too. There are trolls, I guess.
Yeah.
But so a troll would be someone who's purposely trying to provoke drama within a group, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever see anyone saying, like, oh, that person's trolling or whatever, that's what that means. Because I don't think I understood it first and really had to think about it. And then I'm like, oh. And then he was like, oh, you're such a rule follower. You're probably in there saying, go away, troll.
Get out of our forum, troll.
Yeah, go away, troll. Get out of here.
Wait. Is there an acronym for troll?
Oh, I don't know.
I hope not. Because again, it's what?
It's one syllable.
It's one syllable.
We'll
We'll have to come up with one.
Maybe like a little like face or something that you could make with punctuation or something.
Troll.
All right. Well, hey, this was fun. Hopefully we've cleared up some of the things concerning pregnancy forums that were having you second guessing your language abilities. Special thanks to our panelists for joining. For more information about our show, as well as information about our panelists, visit our episode page on our website. And like Sunny said, we will post these to create a glossary to help you through those future forum posts. This conversation continues for members of our Preggy Pals Club. After the show, we're going to talk some more about some random acronyms that aren't related specifically to pregnancy, but that come up frequently in forums.
It is time for a segment we have on the show called Pregnancy Brain Blunders. And we know when we're pregnant, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do silly stuff, right? All those nutrients and important things that usually help our brain work better are now going to our baby, right? So these are some of the fun stories that our listeners are willing to share with us. So this comes from Carrie. Carrie writes, went to Walmart for groceries. On my way home, I noticed my wedding ring was missing. I freaked out, did a U-turn, and went back to Walmart. I went and spoke to management, and they had all of their janitors and available employees searching for my ring. I had a posse of people searching the parking lot. I made a police report and notified my insurance agent. It was hot outside and stuff was melting in my car. After an hour or so, I went home. Defeated. I sobbed forever. By the time I got home, I was wiped out and I crashed on the couch. My husband came home and I told him what had happened. I cried again. He went up to take a shower. When he came back down, he asked for my hand and asked for my hand in marriage again and put my ring back on my finger. I had apparently taken it off to wash my hands, which I never do, and I left it beside my bathroom sink. Oh my goodness. Well, you could tell the ring was important to you, right? Thanks so much for sending this in. If you have a funny pregnancy brain blunder, these are some funny stories, you guys. We love to hear them. So please send us an email through our website, or you can also send us a voicemail. And that is great because you can tell your own story. So that works well too. You can send it through the website. Just click on that gray little banner. It says send voicemail on any page on the New Mommy Media website, and we'll include it in a future episode.
That wraps up our show for today. We appreciate you listening to Preggy Pals. Don't forget to check out our sister show, Newbies, for postpartum moms during baby's first year, Parent Savers for parents with infants and toddlers, Twin Talks for parents of multiples, and the Boob Group for moms who breastfeed. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
How would you like to have your own show on the New Mommy Media Network? We're expanding our lineup and looking for great content. If you're a business or organization interested in learning more about our co-branded podcasts, visit our website at newmommymedia.com. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording, so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.